Morning. Welcome. My name's John, and I'm a complete novice to anything to do with vlogging, blogging, espresso machines, whatever. And I guess the reason I'm here is that having gone through this process of deciding on what espresso machine, let me say, straight off, introduce you to the ECM Synchronika. It's not easy to say, it's even harder to spell, but it is an amazing machine, and it looks as good as it sounds in name. But anyway, the point about this is that I'm generally a fairly decisive individual, but when it came to deciding on what espresso machine to invest in, and I stressed, for me it is an investment, it's not just a purchase. This is a one-time investment for life, I hope. It took me 18 months, which might seem like quite a long time, but when you get into the whole gambit of espresso machines, you realise it is a massive topic. And there's such a vast array of great machines out there to choose from, and it's very personal. I've got to tell you, very, very personal what you decide in the end. So we started out, I guess as most people do, with an idea of how much money we want to spend. We looked at the single boiler machines and very quickly agreed that, Flossie and I agreed that single boiler, not for us. We like our milky drinks, and I think you're going to get other drinks, you've got to really have, as a minimum, a heat exchanger boiler or the twin boiler. So that naturally takes us into the heat exchanger boiler range, and as I said, there is such a vast choice. So it's all about styling initially, I found, and we were very early on drawn to the rocket range, which is interesting. And the reason for that was the branding was sort of kind of attracted us, I guess. And yet it was also the branding in the end which kind of turned me off. And I'll explain. The rocket range is very obviously branded nicely, huge R's for rocket and rocket feet and everything else, and they have a great look about them. And we were also kind of drawn to the rocket apartmento, because it's quite a small compact machine which would have fitted well in here. But actually, Flossie, Julian, my wife, she was the one that said, well, actually, why are we buying for here? Because this is not where we want to have it eventually. When we go back to the UK, our main home, we want to have it for there. So, and she's right. So we went and then, okay, forget about the size as being the priority. Let's get the right machine. So we went back in with the rocket range. And so we've been looking at it for some time. And curiously, to me, again, it's very personal. I started to feel that the rocket branding was a little bit too much in my face, and for me, I much rather have a classic-looking machine. It's something I'm going to live with for the rest of my life, hopefully. And it's something that's in your kitchen. You're seeing it all day, every day. So it's important that you bond with it. And I wasn't bonding with the rocket range. It was, for me personally, over-branded, I found. So I binned the rocket range and started looking elsewhere, and by luck, sorry about that, it's one of the dogs, not sure why, just barking. By accident, came across the Profitec range, and I was immediately drawn to the Profitec because of their simplistic styling, very classical style. But just as importantly, it's German engineering built and marketed under the Italian flair. So great engineering, Italian style. It was for me a winning combination. So I started looking at the Profitec range, and they've got some good machines in a reasonably priced bracket. And on the heat exchanger side, I was looking at the Profitec 500. And it's a heat exchanger, the vibration pump. A little smaller than this particular machine here, so it's quite a good compromise in terms of size, and great styling, looked lovely, and it just ticked the boxes for us as a heat exchanger machine. And we actually put an order on one, and the agent I was dealing with kept trying to push me onto the 700, and then I said no. Quite happy with the heat exchange, didn't want to go to that next leap. And then out of the blue, the Profitec 600 came into my life, which was the same size as the 500, but now it's a twin boiler, still with a vibration pump, but it was the proverbial dog's bollocks to me in terms of size, compromise for size and everything else. And then we thought, nah, that's the machine, and we put an order on one of those, and was actually going to go through it until we got this ridiculous quote for shipping from Europe, and it was about half the price of the machine again. So we said, no, that's not going to work. So we cancelled that order, and then started thinking about the Profitec 600. It was a small machine, twin boiler, and it was almost for me that they were putting in a lot of kit inside a relatively small machine, and it in itself was a compromise, I felt, for a twin boiler. And we then moved on to the next level, which was 700, which was a proper twin boiler, proper size boilers, and also had that rotary pump option. Excuse me, just keep looking at the fence, and let's go a little bit further. So the budget was now completely blown out of the window, and we're looking at a fully blown Profitec. Now the company, Profitec, is also the same company as the ECM range, and as luck would have it, I was looking at reviews again, and someone was comparing the Profitec 700 with the ECM Synchronika, and they're essentially much the same machines. And when I started looking into the Synchronika, I thought, well, now we're there. Now I've got it. I've found it, because it's just, to me, the styling is perfect. It's the kind of styling I can live with. Twin boiler, rotary pump, PID. The toggles, I like the toggles personally, as opposed to the handles. It's just a personal choice again. The slim base, the finishing on the machine, the rounded edges, the cup holder at the top, the styling again reflecting on the pump lever. I mean, it weighs a ton. It's just quality. It's beautifully done. A little bit of branding, but not in your face branding, and it just, to my mind, was the perfect machine. Ticked all the boxes, and is something that I can very happily live with. Plumbable or not plumbable, it's up to you. Obviously, at the moment, it's non-plumbable. We might look at plumbing when we get to England. So we arrived at the choice, and this was it. I have to say, so far, we're absolutely delighted. I'm still very much in the learning process, but it's been a wonderful experience, just getting to know this beautiful thing. I love the gauges also. It's the styling, the Profitec 700 gauges down here, and it's actually nice looking gauges, but this is so much easier, and it just works for me. And it was Julie who said it in the end, listen, if you're going to do it, let's do it once and do it right. So we kind of went for gold, and invested quite a lot, I guess. But so far, we're just absolutely delighted. It's just been a great purchase, and we love it. The more I look at it, the more I love it. It's just like the simple, classic styling. Also on the left, we went with the ECM 64 semi-automatic grinder. Had good reviews, and it matches and goes well with the ECM Synchronika. So there you go. That's how we ended up with this baby. It was a lengthy process, as I said, 18 months. We've now got it. I'm just starting to learn and get into her, and I hope this was useful to you or of interest to you. It's very personal, as I said, throughout, and we're happy and delighted we've arrived at this particular choice. And maybe a bit more practice, I might even put up a proper review of the machine, and perhaps even pull a shot or two. But hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for coming, and see you again soon. Bye bye.